Helping takes us off temporarily. Thank you all so much for being here, both in person and online.
We're trying something new. We're trying two new things tonight. We are doing this as a hybrid event, which means we're in person and we're online, both filming what's going on in this room and putting it out there on the internet. And also we are hybrid because one of our panelists is joining us from Chile, who you'll meet in a moment. Who's already on the screen. That's Ana María. So we are really excited to be here. Did you want to go ahead?
No, buenas noches. Gracias por unirse a este evento. Esta es la primera vez que hemos tenido un evento virtual y también es un evento que va a ser virtual y también en persona. Así que, por favor, si puede tener un poco de paciencia porque es la primera vez que hemos hecho esto. Y ya mismo vamos a empezar el evento y a presentar a nuestras a Ana María que nos está uniendo desde Chile.
Thank you. So that's the other new thing that we're doing tonight. We are hosting this bilingually because Ana María Wahrenberg, one of our panelists, is in Chile and speaks Spanish and German. And so we figured we probably have more Spanish-speaking members and stakeholders, so we thought we would go with the Spanish. And we're so lucky to have Jara, who's translating. So my name is Erin Blankenship. I have the great privilege of being the interim executive director here at the museum. I want to thank you for coming tonight. And I also want to say, as a follow-up to the fact that we are doing this both hybrid and bilingually, just to bear with us. This is, again, the first time we're doing this. I have a few important people I want to thank. I want to thank our Board of Trustees for your tireless work on behalf of our mission. I know we have Stacy Conroy here from the board, so thank you very much. If you want to just raise your hand so people know. We're very glad that you're here tonight. And I also want to thank our amazing staff who's making this event successful. So you've already heard from Jade Lugo. She's our museum educator and also working as our translator tonight and on a few other events that we've done. We have Juan Walker, our programs manager and community outreach manager, who's really handled all of the organization for this event. David Myers and Brett Hendrickson, who are our tech people tonight, along with Amy, our IT manager, Amy Baruch. And we also have Sharon Boyes, who's also on our programming team. She's our advancement director. So thank you all very much. And did you want to translate that for me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Le queremos dar las gracias a los miembros del museo, en especialmente a Fawn Walker, a David Myers, a Amy Álvarez, y también a Sharon Boyce, que está aquí hoy y han ayudado con este evento. Y también, mi nombre es Yara Lugo, yo soy la educadora aquí en el museo y voy a estar traduciendo esta noche.
And I also wanted to thank our partners at USC Shoah Foundation and the Interactive Jewish Museum of Chile, because without them, this entire reunion wouldn't have happened, and you'll learn a little bit more about that in a few minutes.
Y también le queremos dar las gracias al USC Shoah Foundation y también al Museo Interactivo Judío de Chile, porque gracias a ellos esta reunión pudo llegar a cabo y van a aprender un poco más sobre esa reunión y cómo pasó en este evento.
So lastly, I just want to say how honored all of us here at the Florida Holocaust Museum are to be taking part in the Celebration of the Arts. If you're not aware, the Celebration of the Arts is a community initiative created by Dr. Gordon and Michelle Gilbert, who are here in the front row. And it really brings together all of the cultural arts facilities in our beautiful city. And we all create programs and exhibitions and concerts, all focused around a theme, which the Gilberts have come up with. And this year's theme is love. And we are so excited because as soon as we found out that this was the theme, we knew we had to highlight the story of Ana María and Betty.
También les queremos dar gracias de parte del museo del Florida Holocaust Museum. Tenemos el honor de tomar parte en la celebración de las artes, una iniciativa en nuestra comunidad, y le queremos dar las gracias al Dr. Gordon y Michelle Gilbert por su liderazgo en crear esta iniciativa con nuestra comunidad en nuestra bella ciudad. Y este año el tema de la celebración de las artes es el amor. Y por esa razón es que tenemos este evento para celebrar la amistad y el amor entre Ana María Wahrenberg y Betty Grebenschikoff, que son sobrevivientes del Holocausto.
So thank you again, Dr. and Mrs. Gilbert. We really appreciate being a part of this. So now I will start our discussion. I'll be asking each of the ladies questions to respond to, and they will answer. And as they answer, we'll pause from time to time to give translation.
Okay. Y ahora vamos a empezar nuestra discusión. Ana María, ¿nos puede escuchar? Okay. So lo que vamos a hacer es que vamos a hacerle Sí, ahora sí lo puede escuchar. Sí, vamos a hacerle preguntas a cada de las señoras y entre cada oración o cada frase vamos a tomar un momento, una pausa para poder traducir. ¿Ok? Así que ahora podemos empezar la discusión.
Okay, so I would like to ask Betty, I'm going to start by asking Betty, could you give us I know much too short, summary of what happened to you during the Holocaust?
I was born in Berlin, Germany, and I had a very, very good early childhood. Very comfortable, very loving parents and sister and relatives. And I also had a girlfriend in school whose name is Ana María Wahrenberg, except her name used to be Ana María, and I still call her Ana María today. We played together in school, and we learned in school, and we were supposed to learn in school, and we played after school. And the first few years when we were 6 or 7, we could go out to parks and swimming pools and theaters and everything. But then the Nazis bore down on the Jewish population, and we were not allowed to go anywhere anymore. So we went to each other's homes. Our parents would take us there, and we spent a lot of time together. We had exactly 3 years together from the age of 6 till age of 9.
Go ahead. Okay. So, Betty empezó a decir su historia de cómo sobrevivió el Holocausto, de su experiencia durante el Holocausto. Ella nació en Berlín. What year were you born in again?
Berlin, Germany.
Sí, ella nació en Berlín, en Alemania, y ella conoció a su amiga Ana María Wahrenberg, aunque en ese tiempo se llamaba Ana María, y en Alemania, y fueron a la escuela juntas, a una escuela para niños judíos, y por 3 años fueron las mejores amigas. En vez de ellas fueron a la escuela y aprendieron, pero también jugaban juntas, a veces más que aprender. Y go ahead. Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
After we were not able to go out anywhere, we played together in each other's homes. And as things got worse in Berlin and all over Germany, during Crystal Night, both of us had separate, very bad experiences. And we realized then that the time for German Jews and European Jews altogether was just about over. It was a warning bell.
Okay. Cuando las cosas empezaron a empeorar en Alemania por el régimen nazi, tuvimos que empezar a jugar en nuestros hogares. Cuando pasó Kristallnacht, o la noche de los cristales rotos en el 1938, nos dimos cuenta que las cosas iban a empeorar en Europa, así que decidimos de salir de Alemania.
We realized that we had to leave in order to save our lives. And so my father bribed the Japanese shipping company with all kinds of money to get passage on a ship out of Italy to go to Shanghai, China, which at that point was one of the very few places that would take in people without passports or visas. And since we had no passport and no visa, that was our destination. And I went to the playground with my father to meet Ana María and her father to say goodbye to each other. And I remember we cried and we hugged each other and we said we'll meet each other again very soon. And then we left.
Do you want to take a pause there?
Hmm?
You need to pause there. Yeah. So, cuando nos dimos cuenta que teníamos que huir de Alemania, mi padre fue a un barco que iba a salir, un barco japonés que iba a salir a Shanghai en China, y le dio todo el dinero que teníamos. Shanghai en China era el único lugar que no necesitaba visa o pasaporte para ir, así que hicimos planes para emigrar, para ser refugiados en Shanghai en China. Y nos tuvimos que despedir en la escuela, en el colegio, Ana María y yo.
We got on the ship and we had to leave all our things behind, and all our families, our extended family stayed behind, because German Jews at that time thought it wasn't going to be so bad. The worst was yet to come, but we did not know that. So we went to Shanghai, and I spent, with my immediate family, I spent 11 years there.
Okay. Dejamos a todos nuestros familiares y amistades en Alemania. Ellos no creían o sabían lo que iba a pasar en Europa, en Alemania, durante ese tiempo, durante el Holocausto. Pero las cosas sí empeoraron y perdimos a casi todos nuestros familiares. Y fuimos a Shanghai en China.
During World War II, there were almost 20,000 of Jewish refugees that had found a place in Shanghai. Somehow or other, they managed to get there. And we were interned by the Japanese military who had taken over Shanghai. And we were interned in what they called a segregated area, but in reality it was a ghetto. But it was not as bad a ghetto as they had in Germany. At least they didn't kill us over there.
En Shanghai, durante la Segunda Guerra Mundial, el puerto de Shanghai fue tomado por el ejército japonés. Así que los judíos, habían 20,000 judíos que emigraron, que fueron refugiados en China. Durante ese tiempo, nos pusieron en un gueto, o había segregación durante ese tiempo. No nos trataron muy bien, pero tampoco la experiencia no fue igual que esos guetos que estaban en Europa ni en Alemania durante ese tiempo con los judíos en Europa.
When the war was over, we were liberated by the Americans and the British, and we started our lives again, and that's when we found out what had happened in Europe to all our families, which was very traumatic, of course. We stayed in Shanghai for a while. I met a young man, a Russian refugee, and got married to him in 1948. And my wedding dress that was made for me by Chinese tailors was worn by me and two of my daughters, Nina and Irene, afterwards as well in this country. And then I sent it back to the Shanghai Jewish Refugee Museum as an artifact, and it's hanging there now. So if you ever go there, go and look me up.
Después de la guerra fuimos liberados por el ejército americano, y después de la guerra nos quedamos en Shanghai. Ahí en Shanghai conocí a un inmigrante ruso que también trabajaba con el ejército, y nos casamos en Shanghai. Y hoy en día puedes encontrar mi traje de novia en el museo en Shanghai.
Afterwards, the political climate changed in China, and in 1950 we had to leave again without passports or visas or anything, and managed to get to Australia, where we lived for 3 years. I had my first 2 children there. And then we got to America, which was facilitated by my sister, who married an American serviceman in Shanghai and had gone to America before us. So we had 3 more children. I had 5 altogether. I have many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And I was very happy to come to America in 1950. That was one of the best days of my life up to that point. But I had never heard any more about my girlfriend, Ana María.
Okay. Cuando cambió el gobierno en China, nos mudamos a Australia por unos cuantos años. Tuve 2 hijos en Australia y nos mudamos de Australia a América porque mi hermana se había casado con un miembro del ejército americano. Y aquí nos quedamos en América en el 1950 fue cuando inmigramos a América. Y can you repeat what was your last sentence you said about your friend? You were talking about?
I had not heard anything about her.
Y durante todo ese tiempo no había escuchado, no había recibido nada ni sabía de mi amiga Ana María que había dejado en Alemania.
In closing, I'll just say that it took 82 years before Ana María or as I call her, Ana María, before we found each other again. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Y tomó 82 años para poder reunirme con Ana María, y van a poder escuchar un poco de esa historia.
And Ana María, would you share what happened to you during World War II?
Ana María, ¿me puede escuchar?
Sí.
Ok, ahora nos puede dar a nosotros un breve resumen, menos de 5 minutos, un resumen de su experiencia durante el Holocausto.
Bueno, al igual que Ilse o Betty, nací.
Ajá.
Y bueno, fuimos a ese mismo colegio, nos hicimos muy amigas. En ese tiempo las amigas no podían recurrir a parques ni a diversiones ninguna. Estaba todo prohibido para los judíos, los bancos, en los parques, los columpios, los teatros. Así que la amistad y nuestros juegos fueron dentro de la casa.
Ok, ¿puede tomar una pausa ahí?
¿Cómo?
¿Puede tomar una pausa ahí?
¿Sí?
Yeah, so in those days when we went to school, and I apologize, there's a lot to be translated, but when they went to Jewish school together, they became fast friends. And in those days, Jews were not allowed to basically go to parks, and they couldn't sit at benches. They couldn't really play outside. So they spent that time. They would go to each other's homes and play there. ¿Y puedes seguir ahora?
Ya. Era muy íntima. Seguramente las dos necesitábamos un apoyo, porque fue una época muy difícil y nuestros padres siempre pasaban muy tristes. Mi papá, en la noche de los cristales rotos, fue llevado al campo de Sachsenhausen, un campo de concentración, donde estuvo 29 días.
Okay.
Betty es una de las pocas la única persona, creo, en el mundo que se acuerda de mi papá en qué condiciones salió del campo de concentración.
Okay, so we became really close friends very quickly because during those times it was very difficult. Our parents were very sad because of the events that were going on in Germany. And so we became each other's support system. During the Kristallnacht, my father was taken to the concentration camp on that night called Sachsenhausen. And she says that Betty is the only person
that remembers probably very likely at this point what my father looked like when he came back from Sachsenhausen. He was emaciated. He was in really poor condition. ¿Puedes seguir?
Todos estos momentos, al recordarlo hoy, son muy emotivos, porque es la única persona que me queda de ese tiempo. Los recuerdos no tengo en nadie en común más que con ella. Por eso nuestro reencuentro fue tan emotivo y tan especial.
So all of this is very emotional for me because I don't have anyone else anymore that has gone through similar experiences, nor that remembers
basically the same things that I went through, and that is why our reunion has been so emotional and important for me. ¿Y puedes seguir, Tiene?
Respecto al nombre, que ella dice que yo cambié de nombre de Ana. No es tanto como el nombre de ella, porque yo no la habría jamás encontrado, porque ella cambió el nombre y el apellido.
So she says how my name went from Ana
Maria, which is not a big change as opposed to Betty's name change. She changed her first and of course last name, and so
all my middle names.
And so it's a big change, and that is I could never find her for those years because she tried searching using the names that she knew her by when she was a young child, and so that is a big change,
Yes.
a bigger change than Ana María.
Yes.
Cuando llegó el primer contacto, la primera pregunta, mi hijo me preguntó, ¿tú tienes una amiga de colegio que se llama Betty Grebenschikoff? No, le dije yo. Yo tenía una amiga y se llamaba Ilse Kohn.
So and
Only one.
And so if we might get into this a little bit later
when
when
we talk about the reunion story, but she says how when she got a question from the USC Shoah Foundation, her son asked her how you have a friend called Betty Grebenschikoff, and she says, no, I only have one friend, and her name is Ilse Kohn. So I don't know who Betty Grebenschikoff is. I don't know her.
Could you ask her to say how she ended up in Chile from Berlin?
Y cómo llegó a vivir en Chile.
Bueno, nosotros después que mi papá salió del campo y haciendo muchas maniobras muy difíciles, mi mamá consiguió una visa, porque había que tener una visa para poder emigrar a Haití. Eran los únicos países que recibían judíos, era Shanghái y Haití.
So after my father left Sachsenhausen, my mother was able to get a visa to go to Haiti.
The only places, because you needed a visa to go to leave at the time, and the only places that would take Jews were Shanghai or Haiti. So, ¿puede continuar?
Sí. Entonces partimos de Berlín a Génova. En Génova nos embarcamos. Recibimos una noticia que una compañera de colegio de mi mamá nos consiguió un aval, es decir, ella dio aval para nosotros para que pudiéramos ingresar a Chile esa fue la manera que pudimos ingresar a un país más civilizado.
We went from Genoa to
Haiti, and so on our way through the Panama Canal, we learned that my mother had a school friend from back in the day who was able to vouch for us to come to Chile. So we opted to go to Chile instead of Haiti. Okay. Do we have?
So
I'm going to start with you, Betty, because I know this about you already.
could you talk to us about at what point in your life did you begin to believe that Ana María may not have survived the Holocaust?
I never thought of her as not having survived because I felt that she was somewhere, but I always had the feeling that she would have gotten in touch with me, but somehow that didn't happen. Apparently, I wrote a letter to her from Shanghai, which she showed me today, that I was waiting for her to write back to me, and it never happened. So we totally lost touch, and over the years, I kept thinking about her. She was always in the back of my mind because she was my best friend. My only friend at that time. I had a sister, but she had her own friend. And so we were very close, but I always felt like she must be somewhere. And so every time I gave a talk, and it's been quite a while since I've been doing that, I always said, if anybody ever heard of someone called Ana María Wahrenberg, please let me know. And the children in particular would take out their pencils and their paper and write down the name and said, I'll let you know when I find her. And nothing ever happened until 82 years after we parted. And that was due, as she said, due to the Shoah Foundation and the Holocaust Museum here in Florida and the one in Santiago, Chile, where Ana María is now. And I did not believe that they actually found us, but apparently not apparently, but truly there's one researcher at the Shoah Foundation called Ita Gordon who has become our guardian angel. And she heard Ana María speak in Chile about her Crystal Night remembrance. And she thought there was something that she had heard before about that night and about what happened to different families. And she thought she had some connection somewhere. And she researched and took her quite a long time. And then suddenly she said, I think I found something. And she said she couldn't even move. She was so astounded. Shall I stop?
Yes.
I can go on.
No, I just also. La pregunta que hizo Erin fue, ¿en qué momento fue que creyeron? Y la pregunta es para ambas, pero ya mismo vamos a hacer la misma pregunta a Ana María, pero ¿en qué momento fue que creyeron que la otra había sido asesinada durante el Holocausto? Y Betty dice que ella nunca quiso creer que Ana María había muerto durante el Holocausto, pero como eran amigas, ella siempre, ella pensó... Ella le hubiera escrito cartas o iban a escribirse durante el tiempo que estuvieron separadas después de despedirse, pero perdieron el contacto durante todos esos años. Y cada vez que hablaba de mi experiencia por años, cada vez que hablaba sobre mi experiencia durante el Holocausto, cuando hablaba con estudiantes o con diferentes organizaciones, siempre mencionaba el nombre de Ana María Wahrenberg. Y, pero nunca la pude encontrar durante ese tiempo, por 82 años, hasta que Ita Gordon, que trabaja para la USC Shoah Foundation, que ahora es nuestro ángel de la guardia, ella estaba escuchando, estaba viendo el video de Betty, de su testimonio, de su experiencia durante el Holocausto, y ella se dio cuenta que ella había mencionado el nombre de Ana María Wahrenberg. Ella había escuchado ese nombre antes, y gracias a la USC Shoah Foundation y al Florida Holocaust Museum aquí en Florida, también el Museo Interactivo Judío de Chile, nos pudimos reunir.
So they got in touch. Ita Gordon collected herself and checked this all out and figured out that we were definitely connected. And they called our families first because they thought we wouldn't be able to take the shock. And so my daughter, who was sitting right there, called me on the phone and said, "Mom, they found Ana María." I said, "Really?" It just went right over my head. I didn't understand what she was talking about because I had Ana María on the brain all these years, but then when it happened, I didn't believe it. So anyway, long story short, we all managed to get together on a Zoom call. The families, Ana María and myself, the champagne bottles, of course, and and we had a reunion on Zoom with Ita Gordon, our angel from the Shoah Foundation, and the museums from here and the museum from Santiago, and we had a big party on Zoom. And everybody said, "Well, did you cry?" I said, "No, we laughed and we talked and we kept on talking and we talked in German." It all came back to me because Ana María is more comfortable with Spanish and with German, and I could still remember some of my long-lost German, which I haven't spoken for a long time. And now we speak every Sunday on the phone, and we speak in German. And if I miss a word, she picks it up for me. We think alike totally. It is fantastic.
Cuando Ita se dio cuenta que nuestras historias estaban conectadas, ella se comunicó con nuestras familias porque ella pensó que íbamos a estar en un estado de shock, que íbamos a estar tan sorprendidas que no íbamos a poder responder. Así que mi hija, la hija de Betty, le dijo a Betty que encontraron a Ana María, y su primera respuesta fue que ella no se dio cuenta, como que no.
Say it in English, I'll translate.
I was just saying that, and I'm completely blanking in English as well. But I was just saying that, your response was that you didn't really have, like, your response was more, it didn't really, I can't even say it in English, but you just didn't have a response at first. It didn't settle in, right? Because you had been saying that for so long.
Ich habe es nicht verstanden, weil du immer auf meinem... Du hast es nicht... Wir haben es beide gar nicht verstanden, weil wir so lange gewartet haben.
So now we have a trilingual.
I said we didn't understand it, either one of us, because we had waited so long, and 82 years is a long time.
Sí, esperaron tanto tiempo para poder reunirse. Nunca pensaron que después de 82 años se pueden reunir. Así que se pudieron reunir por videoconferencia, por Zoom, con sus familiares, con champaña. Y ahora cada domingo hablamos las dos en alemán. Ajá.
Yo creo que a pesar que no soy una persona religiosa, creo que hubo un ser superior que además de Ita nos unió, porque esto es un milagro, es un cuento de hadas, es algo increíble encontrarse después de 82 años
Ajá.
sin tener ningún contacto, sin saber nada, absolutamente nada, una de la otra. Dios nos dio cuerpo y salud para poder juntarnos y para todavía tenemos la fuerza de la amistad que está inquebrantable como hacen 80 años.
So one of the incredible things about our reunion, something that is so miraculous, is that Ana María says that she is not very religious, but there has to be some sort of greater power out there. And of course, with Ita's help, Ita Gordon's help, which is just amazing that was able to happen, to bring us back together, some sort of greater power that was able to give them like mind, body, and strength to come together and still be around after 82 years and to still have that unbreakable bond and friendship.
Well, when we came back together in November of, I think it was 2 years ago, right? 1.5 years ago, we found that we had a communication going right from the very beginning. As we kept on talking to each other, we felt like we have the same values. We value our family, we value our way of life, and we were both on the same path all those years that we were not together. She had a family, I had a family, and we eventually both started to talk about the Holocaust to children, and I've been doing it for quite a long time. And I gave a testimony to the Shoah Foundation in 1997, which is where our guardian angel, Ita Gordon, found me. And Ana María never gave testimony, but she looked around for me in other ways. And so through that testimony at the Shoah Foundation, which thousands and thousands of Jewish people eventually did, this all came together. Mm-hmm. It was started by Steven Spielberg, and I'm still waiting for him to call us for a movie.
Betty dice que cuando nos reunimos en el año 2020 vía Zoom, nos dimos cuenta que después de tantos años como quiera, teníamos los mismos valores. Nosotros valoramos mucho nuestra familia, la manera en que vivimos, y nosotras tomamos caminos similares. Ellas, las dos, se casaron y emigraron, y también empezaron después, más tarde en su vida, empezaron a hablar sobre sus experiencias en museos, sobre sus experiencias durante el Holocausto. Y en 1997 fue el año en que Betty grabaron su testimonio para la USC Shoah Foundation, que fue fundada por Steven Spielberg, y hasta ahora estamos esperando para que él nos llame para que podamos grabar una película sobre nuestra historia. Uh-huh.
Ana María, I'd like to know what, since you have been reunited with Betty, has been the most surprising thing either about Betty or about your relationship now?
Ana María, después de su reencuentro, ¿qué es lo que más le ha sorprendido sobre su reunión, sobre Betty, sobre su amistad? Algo que le sorprendió.
Me sigue sorprendiendo porque ¿cómo es posible que dos niñitas que se separaron tanto tiempo, que han tenido cero contacto, y las dos tienen los mismos intereses, lo que se nota que estamos en la misma actividad, que tenemos los dos dentro del museo? Nos gusta conversar con gente joven, nos gusta cuando damos las charlas, sentarnos entre ellos, no hacerlo desde un podio. Tenemos las mismas ambiciones. No, que
¿Podemos tomar una pausa aquí?
sí, que las dos nos gusta conversar con gente joven,
Ajá.
¿ya? Con adolescentes, con niños.
Ok, vamos
Y
a
las
tomar una
dos,
pausa aquí
y
para poder
las dos siempre tratamos de estar juntos con ellos, no hablar desde un escenario, sino que estar con la gente, sentirlo, ¿entiendes?
Sí.
Déjeme tomar una pausa aquí para poder traducir. Un momento. Okay. So she says that she is actually still surprised. It wasn't just like one moment of surprise. She is constantly being surprised by how alike they are, how two little girls, after 82 years, still have the same interests. They still like the same things. They're surprised that they both went to, they both started talking about their experiences during the Holocaust, especially something that they both like to do is to talk to young students. They both love that. And they like to not just, both of them like to not just speak to them from a podium. They want to be among the students and talk to them like they're...
We each wrote a book. We each wrote a book.
Okay. Y ella también dice que las dos escribieron un libro.
And they each wrote a book. And Betty, what
You say is the most surprising thing that you've found?
For me, it's coming to the end of the rainbow. It was something that was lacking in my life. I have had other friends since that time, other best friends. Unfortunately, they're not there anymore. I had a best friend in Shanghai that I loved, who died in Shanghai. I had another best friend in America for 40 years, who also passed away. And I was very fortunate to have other good friends, but there was never another best friend. I now have another best friend who understands exactly where I'm coming from, who understands how I think and how I feel, because she has similar feelings, and we just it's just such a miracle. I can't even tell you what a miracle this is, because we now have each other and each other's families.
Ella dice que lo que le ha sorprendido es como llegar al final de un arco iris. Ella ha tenido por muchos años, ella ha tenido diferentes mejores amigas. Ella tuvo una mejor amiga en Shanghai que desafortunadamente murió en Shanghai. Tuvo una mejor amiga por 40 años aquí en los Estados Unidos, y ella también falleció. Y ahora puede tener una mejor amiga otra vez, su mejor amiga de su niñez. Es un milagro, sí, que puede tener una mejor amiga otra vez a esta edad.
It is an absolute miracle, and I just wish that this would happen to other people as well. It happens very, very rarely that people get back together again and then have the bond that they had as children, and find that bond is still there in a different form, but it's definitely there. I now have my best friend. She has another best friend, and we met each other's families, and we're just one big happy family. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that this would happen. I kept hoping, but sometimes you're lucky and these things happen. And I can't thank everybody enough for facilitating this, and for helping us get together, and for our families to have gained another whole family as well.
Sí, Betty dice que es un milagro, que esto es bien raro que pase y ella quisiera que otras personas pudieran pasar por esta misma experiencia. Y ahora las dos familias, la familia de Betty y la familia de Ana María, son ahora una gran familia, juntos son una gran familia y ella le quiere dar las gracias a todos los que pudieron ayudar con este proceso para que las dos pudieran reunirse y puedan contar su historia con el mundo, con todo el mundo.
La historia terminó como un cuento de hadas.
She said the story,
Finished like a fairy tale.
True.
So let me ask Ana María. Ana María, could you tell us what happened in November?
Ana María, ¿qué fue lo que pasó en este pasado noviembre? ¿Nos puede decir un poco sobre este pasado noviembre?
Se encendieron todas las luces del universo.
she says all the universe.
All the lights of the universe lit up in November.
Yo creo, en realidad nosotros no lloramos ningún momento, pero si me haces repetir ahora la ocasión, me emociona mucho nuestro acercamiento. Betty estaba en una pieza, yo entré y nos miramos y nos tocamos y nos abrazamos y no podíamos creer que era realidad. Porque es algo que, no sé, cuántas personas tienen el privilegio que pase algo así.
Yes.
So she's saying that
Es fantástico, maravilloso. No se puede resumir en palabras lo que se siente.
she's talking about how, and back in November, they were actually able to reunite in person. Is that what happened in November?
Yes,
Okay.
4 days in November.
So they were able to reunite in person. Ana Maria came from Chile, and she says that she didn't cry at the time, but she gets emotional thinking about it right now, about that moment
Yes.
in which she came in, and it was she saw you sitting at a table, and they just hugged, and she thinks it's super wonderful, it's a miracle, and she thinks they're both so privileged to have been able to meet each other in person again after so long.
Did you want to add anything, Betty?
It's an absolute fairy tale. I mean, I still don't believe it some days, but then all I have to do is pick up the phone and call her and say, "Are you there?" And she says, "I'm here for you." And that's all I want to hear.
Betty dice que es un cuento de hadas. A veces ni lo creo yo misma, pero lo único que tengo que hacer es llamarla y preguntarle si está ahí. Y sí, va a estar ahí. Sí, Ana María está ahí.
So I'm going to ask this question for both of you. Now that you've both experienced the Holocaust, albeit very different experiences, and reunited in the way you did, do you have any lessons that you want individuals like those of us who are here tonight, or the students that you speak with, to come away with?
Well, I think that anyone who's gone through the Holocaust has all kinds of memories, and it's very difficult to pinpoint these things. Some memories you just don't want to have around, and others are good memories. In general, I think we were very fortunate to have had our families when we were so young, who took care of us and sheltered us as much as they could. Because by the time we got out of Germany, we already knew what was happening to the Jewish people. And we have to teach our children and the general public that hate and persecution leads to death. and to gas chambers and to ghettos and all this. And I mean, we have lost everything when we left our homes, and yet we were the lucky ones. When we think of the people that we left behind us, both of my extended family and Ana Maria's also, and millions, 6 million Jews. I can't think of 6 million. I keep thinking of one person at a time, like my cousin Peter that I met once in my life when we went to Czechoslovakia for a vacation when I was maybe 7 years old. He never was old enough to have a bar mitzvah. He died in one of the camps when he was 12 or 13 years old. I found that out later. And we have to teach that hate, it does not get anywhere. That we have to teach love, and we have to teach understanding, and we have to teach our children to listen to their parents and their grandparents and learn from them. Because if we don't learn from what happened in history, it could be repeated, and we have to be very careful with that. So that's why we're out there at this great age that we're both at now. That's why we're still out there speaking and trying to influence young people in particular through the museums and through the Zoom and all other sorts of things, to be kind to other people, to do one kind thing a day for someone else, because people have done it for us. One kind deed will go on and on when someone else goes on with it. We had one kind deed, I remember distinctly, when we came to America, my husband and I and 2 small children, and we came here with absolutely no money, and we waited at the airport for my parents to pick us up, and a stranger came up to us and said, "Are you new in this country?" And we said, "Yes, it's we want to become Americans, and we want to be, we're immigrants and we want to be American." And he gave us each a Coke, or the children as well, who had never seen Coke before. And he said, "Welcome to America." And every time I tell that story, I get shivers down my back, because it was such a strong message from a person whom I never knew, who probably forgot all about us afterwards. Now, I must tell you that I don't like Coke, but we all drank it. And this is just one kind deed. So just remember, one little thing, it doesn't have to be Coke, but one kind deed will do it for everybody.
La pregunta fue que si hay una lección que podemos aprender, que los adultos que están aquí, que están viendo virtualmente el evento, de su experiencia o de su amistad. Y Betty dice que y Betty dice que cada experiencia de las personas que pasaron que tuvieron esa experiencia del Holocausto, cada experiencia es diferente. Betty y Ana María tuvieron el privilegio de poder huir, escapar de Alemania después de Kristallnacht. Y cuando ella piensa ella no solo piensa en los 6 millones las 6 millones de víctimas del Holocausto que fueron judíos, pero ella también piensa en cada persona, como su primo Peter, que fue asesinado durante el Holocausto, que no pudo ni tener su bar mitzvah porque fue asesinado en un campo de concentración. Y ella piensa que la lección que podemos aprender sobre su amistad y sobre la experiencia que las dos han tenido es que nuestras acciones tienen consecuencias, que el odio se puede convertir en violencia en los campos de concentraciones, en lo que pasó durante el Holocausto, y que si podemos ser amables con cada uno, con los otros, que hagamos acciones que son amables. Por ejemplo, cuando llegó a los Estados Unidos, como estaban en el aeropuerto con sus hijos, estaban cansados, y una persona fue fue a donde Betty, su esposo, y le preguntó, acaban de llegar aquí a América, y ellos dijeron, sí, acabamos de llegar, acabamos de emigrar. Y él fue y le compró, a cada uno le compró una lata de Coca-Cola, y hasta ahora se acuerda de eso porque fue tan amable. Y cuando le dio la soda, le dijo, bienvenido a los Estados Unidos. Y a ella no le gusta la Coca-Cola, pero todavía se acuerda de esa acción que tuvo esa persona. Y eso es lo que ella piensa que es la lección, que debemos ser amables y enseñar amor.
And will you also ask Ana María
Yeah.
what lessons that she wants people to learn from her experience?
Y Ana María, en tus palabras, ¿cuál es la lección que podemos
Yo
tomar?
personalmente creo que estamos haciendo, Betty y yo y muchos otros, estamos haciendo lo justo, lo que conviene en este momento en que el mundo está tan convulsionado. Estamos hablando sobre el holocausto para que nunca más se repita en el mundo y se hable, que la gente no tenga que no haya diferencia entre blanco y negro, entre judío y católico, que todos somos humanos y todos en realidad queremos la paz y el amor, y que estamos de nosotros divulgando y hablando con todos ustedes para que mantengan su mente abierta y usen la mente y las nuevas tecnologías para dispersar el amor y la libertad de pensamiento y la libertad de vivir, la libertad de poder elegir tu compañero, tu amiga, tu país. Es lo más importante que tenemos nosotros, es la libertad.
Ana Maria says that what she and Betty and other survivors are doing by sharing their story, they're making a difference in the world by talking about their experiences during the Holocaust, and the lessons that they hope to share by talking about their story and their reunion and what they went through is that we are all the same despite our differences, either black or white or Jewish or non-Jewish, and that we should use technology, we should use our minds and our knowledge to spread that message, and that we should also spread the message not just of love, that there's no differences between us, we're all the human race, but also that of freedom, of being able to I think she's talking more about like democracy and all those lessons you can take from the Holocaust. So I think that's it, right?
So thank you. Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Ana María.
Gracias, Ana María.
Does anybody have any questions for either Ana María or Betty? Yes, sir.
So,
Hi.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
I thank you for sharing this wonderful story. I have two questions, one simple and one a little bit more complex. The simple question is, what are the names of your books, the books that you wrote? And the more complex question is, when you arrived in America, how did you rebuild your life here?
Can I repeat the questions?
Oh, absolutely.
So that for the people who are tuning in online. So her first question was that she would like both of you to tell us all the names of your books. And the second question was to Betty about when you came to America, how did you rebuild your life? Is that correct? Okay.
So, la audiencia tiene unas cuantas preguntas. La primera pregunta es para ambas. Ana María y Betty, si pueden compartir el nombre de sus libros. Así que Ana María, si quiere decir el nombre de su libro.
The name of my book, which is in the bookstore downstairs, which is closed, I'm sorry to say.
It's going to open in just a few weeks.
Thank you. The name is Once My Name Was Sarah. And how did we rebuild our lives? Well, we already had some experience of doing that in Australia for 3 years after Shanghai. And we worked hard. My husband was a teacher. I worked as a secretary. We worked as much as we could, a typical immigrant story. And we raised our children here. I had 3 more children who were lucky enough to be born in this country. And we just did it step by step through hard work and family. I had my parents back in America and my sister and her family. So life was good. We didn't have much. It took quite a while to get to where we would want to be, but it didn't matter. We had done without for such a long time that it didn't really matter. You know, I always said to my children, we're not poor. We just don't have a lot of money. And they believed it.
La segunda parte de la pregunta para Betty era ¿cómo fue su experiencia cuando para construir su vida aquí en los Estados Unidos? Y ella dice que ya lo habían hecho cuando inmigraron a Australia después de vivir en China. Y tuvieron 2 hijos en Australia, tuvieron 3 aquí en los Estados Unidos. Así que tuvieron 5 hijos. Y ella trabajó como secretaria, su esposo él era un maestro de escuela y trabajaron muy fuerte y lo que ella le decía a sus hijos es que no son pobres, que no tienen mucho dinero. Así fue como pudieron hacer su vida aquí en los Estados Unidos y también tuvieron la ayuda de sus padres que estaban aquí con ella.
And did Ana María say the name?
Oh, sí, y el nombre del libro de Betty es Una vez mi nombre fue Sara. ¿Y cuál es el nombre de tu libro, Ana María?
She's good.
She's prepared.
So,
Siempre hay cenizas.
Also, her book
is the phoenix. Is that like the phoenix? And so she says you always have to emerge from the ashes. Beautiful.
It is.
Sir, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Gilbert.
Yes.
Oh, who did the artwork on the book cover?
Oh, for Ana María.
Yeah.
Ana María, el arte que está en su libro.
¿Su libro? ¿Quién fue el que dibujó esa obra de arte? El nombre del artista.
La artista es un artista de Israel que se llama, no sé, no tengo idea.
It's an Israeli artist.
A mí me llamó mucho la atención el cuadro cuando fui a Israel y me sentí identificada, entonces le puse esta foto.
So
Mi hijo me compró el cuadro y lo puse aquí.
Her son purchased it for her. She visited Israel, and there it's an Israeli artist's painting, and she felt very identified when she saw that painting. She felt really connected to it, and that's why she used it as the cover art for her book.
3rd time's a charm.
Thank you. Mrs. Gilbert asked a tough question for Jubilee. So I think we all understand or appreciate the fact that one of the remarkable things about your friendship and your stories together is that you don't ask anything of each other. But the obvious question is, you lost part of a life that you would have had together, or sharing things together. What does having your friendship now what has having your friendship replaced about the life that you didn't live after you left Germany?
I never thought of losing that part of our life together because she was always in my mind. And I kept remembering the times we had together, the times we went to dancing school when we were still allowed to do that and got ourselves in trouble and ate too much candy and all the funny things that little kids do. I never thought of losing something because it was always there. And when we found each other again, we found that it was definitely real. We were together, like we always had been. I never thought I would see her again because after a while, after 82 years, you kind of give up a little bit of hope, you know. But it happened, and it's just a tremendous, tremendous thing in my life. I think one of the biggest things that has happened to me.
La pregunta es que, ¿qué fue lo que, si ahora piensan en lo que perdieron durante todos, lo que perdieron, lo que pudieron haber tenido si no se hubieran separado durante el Holocausto? Pero, sí, pero,
Solo Dios sabe.
pero,
Yo estoy escribiendo ahora el nuevo libro, Esperanza,
so,
porque mi amiga nunca perdió la esperanza de encontrarme a mí.
So,
lo que había dicho Betty es que ella nunca pensó en lo que había perdido, porque todavía tenía esas memorias que compartieron como niñas. Y ella no piensa en eso como si hubieran perdido algo, porque todavía tuvo esas memorias y como quiera pensó en ti durante todo ese tiempo y ahora tiene la oportunidad de estar juntas otra vez. And what Ana María says is that only God knows what we lost, what could have been during that time. But I'm now writing a second book called Hope, because that is what my friend Betty had during those 82 years. She had hope.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Any other question before we say goodnight? Well, thank you so much, Ana María.
Gracias, Ana María.
I can't tell you how much time I've been on a Skype call, even getting ready for this evening. We just kind of, I don't know about the rest of the staff, but I feel so special just to be on the same call with these two amazing women, because we can definitely feel the love between them and their connection. It's really remarkable.
Thank you.
So thank you all so much for being here and for joining us. And if it's your first time here, I hope that you'll come back for a visit, especially in a few months, because we'll be having Betty as one of the biographies in our new Dimensions and Testimony interactive experience on the second floor. Her biography will be joining us. We'll say joining us in a few months. So I hope you'll check out our website often, because that's coming up soon. So thank you again and have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
There is a survey that we do online, and we'll show a QR code. So for those of you tuning in online, you can use the QR code to complete the survey. It just helps us when we plan future events. So thanks again and have a good night.
Thank you.